Hi everyone and welcome. It's definitely been a while since I said that sentence, it's been a while since I've been filming, and with this video I just want to say I'm back, first of all, but before we get into book-related content, before I make videos about books again, I just wanted to explain why I took the break, why the break was necessary, and what this will mean for the channel moving forward. So if this is too meta for you, if you're just here for the books, then just know that book-related videos are going to come and I hope to see you in the comments of those videos. But if you are a little bit nosy like me, if you want to know the behind-the-scenes stuff, then this is the video for you. So the last video that I uploaded here was, I think, in the middle of July, so 3 months ago. And that was actually a video after a small break already. I had taken a break of a couple of weeks, but it was just too soon. I was forcing myself to come back just because I didn't want to let go of this channel, because I really love doing this, but mentally I just really wasn't in the right headspace to take this on as well. So what is happening? I don't really like to diagnose myself, but I do have a medical degree and I do work together with doctors, and I am 99% sure that I was going through a burnout, and I'm still a little bit in a burnout. But I'm trying to deal with that. A lot of the causes why are external, are out of my control, but a couple of them are also just because of the type of person that I am, and I can change that, or at least work around that a little bit more. So if you're unaware, I'm currently doing a PhD in medical research. I'm doing research for stem cell-based technologies for type 1 diabetes. I am a type 1 diabetic patient. The research that I'm doing is very translational, which means that it can be translated to the clinic fairly easy. So this is something that I'm really passionate about, that I find very important, and I have loved my job for a couple of years at least. But normally a PhD takes 4 years, it can be a little bit longer, of course, not all research is the same, but more or less 4 years. And what I need to do in order to get my PhD is to publish 2 articles with, of course, original research, original data, then write a thesis around these 2 articles, and then defend that thesis in front of a jury of experts. Now, the most important part here, the part that takes the longest, is those 2 articles. Once you have those, the writing of the thesis and the defense, that doesn't really take that much, maybe a couple of months. But writing the 2 articles, that's the majority of your PhD. I'm currently working in the 4th year. So in February, I will have been working on my PhD for 4 years. So you would expect that I'm working towards the end. You would expect that at this point I have my 2 articles. At this point, I'm just writing the thesis. But I don't have a single article. And this is something that has been nagging me. This is something that has been stressing me out. That has also made me very unhappy, especially because I have all the data. I have the data for 2 of the articles already, but the first article has been lying on my boss's desk for years at this point. And the reason why is just because I'm no longer a priority. And I think that for this, you need to know a little bit more about the academic field, I suppose. But this is a very, toxic is not the right word, but just go with this. This is kind of a toxic field where a lot of people work extremely hard. There's a very big difference between different PhD students, but I do have some colleagues who work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and they know that they want to stay in this field. While I have much more of a work-life balance than them, and like I said, I'm chronically ill patient. I need to have that. I need to work on myself. I need to have some downtime. I also have the dogs, I have a husband, I have a household, while maybe others don't have that. So I don't really have the possibility to work 7 hours a day, 12 hours a week, but if I'm being completely honest, I also don't want to do that, because even though I love my job, and I think that it's very important, I always go to my job in order to live and not the other way around. I don't live to work. And I think because of that, I am no longer a priority. The research that I've done is finished, and now we have moved on in the lab to other research, which is very important, and I see that that research is very important, but it's no longer mine. There are other PhD students working on that. So it makes me feel a little bit redundant, and that's just not the feeling that you want to have, where I have these articles, I think that these are good articles, but getting them submitted is out of my control, and I'm still making myself useful in the lab. I think I'm helping people wherever I can, because luckily the PhD students, the colleagues, are very nice, and I'm still working on other research that I know is not going to be in my PhD, it's not going to be concluded in my thesis, but it might be very interesting for other people. But at the same time, I know that if I wouldn't be working for an entire month, nobody would know, because nobody really checks in with me, because nobody really cares what I'm doing. And that's a very stressful feeling. I don't know how I can explain this, but for the first 2-3 years of my PhD, I worked very much. I didn't work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, but I worked a lot. I definitely worked more than a full time, and there was always new things that I needed to do. And that was stressful, but that was also very satisfying. And what I have going on right now, it's actually stressing me out more, and it's making me dread going to work because I feel like what I'm doing is pointless and I don't know if I'm ever going to get that PhD. I'm wondering if I'm just being fooled almost. Like, is my boss really ever intending to submit that first paper? Is he ever intending for me to get my PhD, or is he just keeping me around to do some of the jobs that nobody else is doing? I don't know at this point. But that's why I had kind of like a breakthrough. Not a breakthrough. That's why I broke basically a couple of months ago. That's why I couldn't read for the longest time, because I couldn't focus on it because my head was just filled with everything else. I was very stressed out. I was just not feeling great. And that, together with the channel, and I'm always someone who can't really do things halfway. I set goals for myself. So not being able to read stressed me out. So I was forcing myself to read, and that's never the solution. And that's why I say some of these things are out of my control. Other things are completely my control, and I definitely didn't handle that the right way. So I wasn't able to read anymore. I was getting stressed out, like, what am I going to film? I want to keep the channel alive. This is something that I love doing, and I don't want to let go of hobbies because my job isn't really going that well, because that's not going to help me forward. So I decided that it was just best to take a long break and figure things out for myself. So at this point, I am going to wait until the end of the year and see what's happening. And I do hope that by the end of the year, that first article at the very least is submitted. If that's not the case, I really need to think what's happening and if it's ever going to be happening. And this is something that has been giving me a lot of peace of mind, even though that might sound a little bit strange. But at the very least, I know that by the end of this year, something is going to change. Either I have that first paper submitted, I feel like I'm making progress, I feel like getting this PhD is a possibility, or either it's not, and then I know and I need to find something else and something is going to change. I'm not going to be in the same situation forever. It's going to be 3 more months. And I think, and I hope that that paper will get submitted by the end of December, and then I can work on that second paper. And then I can finally start writing the thesis at the very least, because when you have that first paper, at least you know what half of your thesis is going to be about, and then you can write about that. So that's really what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm focusing on. But that's also why I've been feeling a lot more calm lately, and why I feel like I can start reading again, start focusing on the channel. So what does that mean for the channel? Now, I can't do things halfway. Like I said, I can't say, well, I'll film when I feel like it, and that might be once a week, once a month, who knows? I can't do that. So I won't be having a clear schedule like every Wednesday, every Saturday, every Sunday, but probably once a week at the very least. I do want to film once a week. I want to have that routine. I hope that I can batch film, but who knows, because this never works out for me. But in terms of the type of videos, I want to let go more of videos that require me to read certain books, that give me homework almost. So what does that mean? For example, I have a couple of new releases review videos, and in those videos I review 3 new releases of that year. Now, this has been stressing me out a lot. I think that the last one was in June, because I asked too much of myself, and I felt silly if I filmed a new releases video for a new release that came out 4 months ago. So I wanted to read it as soon as possible, and I saw reviews coming up from other people who read it the week after the release, and I felt bad about that. So that was something that when a new book came out, I had to read it right away, because otherwise I was too slow and I was getting behind, and that stressed me out. So the new releases video, I'm just going to try to let go, and if I want to make a review of it, I'll make a review, and otherwise it's in a wrap up, and I'm not going to call it a new release per se, or at least I'm going to stretch the boundaries of what a new release means, and if it's months after the release, then that's just going to happen. So at least that series of videos is going to go away, I think, but maybe halfway through the year I will talk about the releases of that first half, and by the end of the year I will talk about the second batch of new releases, something like that, but not review them as soon as possible, because that just stresses me out. Another thing that sometimes stresses me out are the TBR videos, the monthly TBR videos. So I'm going to let them go for just a while, at least for now, and I'm going to go back to seasonal TBRs. So the next video that I'm going to film actually is the fall TBR video, and I think that I have 15 books there, which is 5 books per month. That's doable. Another thing, and this is actually something that I knew beforehand, because in my goals of 2022 video, which I filmed in December 2021, I actually talked about read-alongs, buddy reads, and that I needed to slow down with those, because even though I absolutely love them, I say yes to too many of them. If on average you read 5 to 7 books a month, you can say yes to 8 read-alongs that month, because that's going to stress you out. That's going to leave no room for just mood reading. That's going to leave no room for not feeling to read for a week. And that also stressed me out because I love being part of a group. I love talking about certain books, but I just need to pick and choose better where I'm going to commit. And so for now, I'm going to keep that on the low grade. Now, one of the read-alongs that I'm definitely going to pick up again is the Age of Madness read-along by Joe Abercrombie, together with Jose and Steve, of course. We are going to read the first book, A Little Hatred, in October, and then the second one, November, and the third one, December. And then we finish the entire First Law universe in 2022, which will be a lot of fun. And then in 2023, I will be co-hosting a read-along for the A Song of Ice and Fire books, together with Joanna, and a couple of other booktubers are also joining. I think that Steve is going to read the series for the first time, but this is something that I knew I wanted to reread for the longest time. This is my favorite series of all time. And this is a series that I know I will love. And for now, this is the only one that I have committed to in 2023. So this is also something that I just need to be very strict about, especially at this stage. Like I said, when things are moving forward, when I'm feeling better, I might be saying yes to a lot of read-alongs and buddy reads again. But for now, I just really need to keep my TBR low and just keep to simple books as well. So the type of videos that you will be seeing quite a bit are, like I said, seasonal TBRs, wrap-ups. I am going to try to keep to monthly wrap-ups, but we will see how it goes. I cannot look into the future. I think that I'm out of my reading slump at this point. I'm listening to audiobooks again, which for the first time this week since June, I think. So it's definitely going uphill, but if by the end of the month I've read one book, I'm not going to do a wrap-up. I'm just going to keep that for the next month. But for now, I do think that I will be able to have monthly wrap-ups and then seasonal TBRs. Besides that, what do you want to see? That's a question that I have for all of you. I do want to film some recommendation videos, grimdark recommendations, fairy tale recommendations, short fantasy books, standalones. I still have a couple of standalones that I definitely want to talk about. I do want to do a bookshelf tour in the future, but this is not something that's going to happen next week because this is a lot of work. But this is something that I do want to do because I think that at this point the shelves are more or less done for a long period of time. And other than that, just let me know what you want to see and I'll see what I can do. Definitely some TBRs, very specific ones like Grimdark TBR, Fairy Tale TBR. I do have a couple of those that I can film as well. So that's everything that I wanted to say. It's definitely been a long time, but I'm very excited to get back into it. And definitely let me know how you've been doing, because some of you I have been talking to on Discord, but a couple of you I haven't talked to since my last weekly wrap-up, since my last just general wrap-up in general. You can see that it's been a while since I've been filming, right? But just let me know how your life has been, what nice books you've picked up, or if you've been doing something completely different. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to answer those. As always, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Bye!